let me quickly talk about my mental state before the game. I hate the fact that there's 2 weeks before the Super Bowl. I mean, it's the longest 2 weeks ever. You have the Pro Bowl in the middle. I watched the game or watched part of the game, but I spent a lot of time sitting there thinking about this game and how the Eagles were going to beat Patrick Mahomes, how this Eagles team was going to beat Andy Reid. I really, I feel like the two teams that were in the AFC Championship game, the Bengals and the Chiefs, is probably the worst matchup for the Eagles because the Eagles have never beaten Andy Reid. They've lost their last, or they had lost their last 3 games against Andy Reid, and the Eagles haven't beaten the Bengals since the Clinton administration. So that was the worst matchup that the Eagles could have gotten. I personally wanted the Bills because at least we have a history of beating the Bills. So I feel like that would have been the team that I would have wanted to face. But for me, it was a crapshoot. The Eagles were going to have to deal with a really good quarterback no matter who played. And sitting there thinking about Patrick Mahomes' injury, how injured was he going to be, thinking about, how the Chiefs were going to beat the Eagles because they can beat you in so many ways, thinking about, how mad I am that Andy Reid, was never as good of a play caller with the Eagles as he was with the Chiefs. I mean, he's got backup quarterbacks, going down for like 90-yard drives for touchdowns in playoff games. So, I'm just sitting there thinking like, dang, like we might not win this game. I knew that the Eagles were 1.5-point favorites. And I think that a lot of that has to do with Vegas wanting Eagles fans money. But I also think that a lot of it has to do with the fact that the Eagles just played better this season, right? A lot of people could say like, oh, if Jalen Hurts doesn't get injured, well, they could have gone like 16-1 or maybe 15-2 realistically. But they didn't. So you're sitting there and you're thinking like, well, that really doesn't mean anything to me. The point spread it's irrelevant. It doesn't mean anything. But I feel like I just sat there and I was just like going down the list of everything that could happen, and if I could make a rating between 1 and 10, and things that I was afraid that was going to happen to us or what the Chiefs could do, I knew that they were an extremely deadly team, and they could do a lot. They're very talented, and they could do a lot to their opponent. There's a reason why Patrick Mahomes was the MVP. I was thinking in my head like, oh, Patrick Mahomes is the MVP. MVPs don't win the Super Bowl since '99. You're thinking about, the coin flip. If you win the coin flip, you lose the Super Bowl. If you're the home team, the designated home team in Arizona, you lose. There's just so much, going into my head. The top passing team has never beaten the number one defense. So a lot of that was going in through my head, and a lot of that I was just like kind of like cycling.